I mean, I can just start kind of saying a few words here.
Yep.
Obviously, you got big big weekend ahead of us here with Senior Day and playing a really good Michigan team that I know after watching them the past few games and playing them before, I know we're going to get the best version of a really talented, gifted, well-coached Michigan team. So we've obviously got a full day planned with the number of seniors we have, the number of fifth year and post-grad seniors. So I won't get into all the specifics of that, but feel free to ask me about whoever you'd like to ask me about, and look forward to talking about our game.
All right, let's go ahead and start with Jared Smalley. If you got a question, go ahead and throw your hand up. We'll go start with Jared, and then we'll go to Adam Jardy. Jared.
All right. Hey, Chris, hope you're well. Couple housekeeping things for you. First of all, for tomorrow, any chance you would have Zed or Kyle available? I know obviously for Kyle to be unique with Senior Day and all. And the second part well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Jared. At this point right now, we're not sure on either guy. We'll know a little bit more after practice today, but at this point, we're not sure on if either guy will be available. It's really to be determined after practice today. I know Kyle would obviously love to be out there given what this place means to him. But if we need to wait another day or two, then that's going to be the doctor's call.
Gotcha. On the other side of that, because of what you got the other night from Joey, does it alter your thinking, alter your planning as you go into a game with, one of the best big men in America? Does that kind of change your thinking a little bit of what you can do?
I think it doesn't, it doesn't change it dramatically. I think obviously Joey performed really well, and that was also a matchup that I think really benefited him in a lot of ways because of his unique skill set and his ability to score in the low box. I think his, he has to, in this game in particular, he's guarding a terrific player in Hunter Dickinson. And I think that's going to be a great challenge for him, as well as our team, and some of their ball screen situations. So I think obviously Joey will play, and Joey will play an important role. And depending on our depth or lack thereof, we'll see what his total minutes are. But I know he'll be ready.
Thanks, man.
Sure.
All right, Adam, if you're ready, go ahead. If not, we'll go with Colin.
Thanks. Sorry, Wi-Fi issues. Chris, when it comes to a Senior Day, what goes into the decisions like this year when you have so many guys that are options as far as who is honored and who is not? And I'm sorry if I might have answered this already, but does this give any indication on Justice and Seth's future plans that they're not being honored?
Well, no, I think, we gave them the option, and they wanted to, they want to choose this particular time for Senior Day. So, we have constant conversation and dialogue with those two about if they want to return and if it's best for them and if it's best across the board. Obviously, we love both guys and have really missed them this year. So, I think it's something that they're, obviously seriously considering, and we'll have more of those conversations after the season. So, as far as Senior Day, yeah, this is a unique one. And I think it's becoming more and more unique with the number of post-grads. What we try to do is honor everybody, but obviously, a guy like Justin's been in our program for 4 years. He's never had a Senior Day before. So it's important for me that it's important for me that all of our guys feel honored, but it's important for me that a guy like that feels honored. He's been in our program for 4 years. Kyle Young obviously had Senior Day last year, but he hasn't had one in front of fans. And he's been with us now 5 years. So, EJ's been with us 3 years. And while he's not graduating, we know that this is his last game in the shot. And I think that's so all of our guys, we want to, we've made point to honor them in a specific way. But obviously you always, kind of look at those guys that have been here for a number of years.
And I feel like every year it's always a question of like, what do you think this class has left behind? What do you think the legacy of this class has been? But this, like you said, this is a unique year with unique situations and guys fifth, sixth years. Is there a common thing that as you look at this group that you think will stick with, or is it that different from other years where it's maybe been a more traditional type of senior class?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the days where you have a 3-man or a 4-man senior class and they stay together for, 3 or 4 years or 5 years. And, I just think it's such a different look today when it comes to senior day. And you could probably even change the title of a day, because technically it's not senior day. It's almost, hey, we're honoring these guys who will, be playing at home for the last time. So again, it is unique. And I just, those guys I mentioned, along with our first year guys that are being honored, I just, you feel grateful for the kind of people they've been in our program. We've enjoyed every day coaching with them, and we look forward to kind of the rest of our time with them. There's no question they've made an impact. And I think fondly of a guy like Keyshawn Woods, who was here 1 year, but made a significant impact and considers himself a Buckeye to this day.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go with Colin Gay and then Patrick Murphy. Colin.
Hey, Chris. You guys obviously named your captains before this season started, but ever since that point, it seemed like you've kind of lumped Jamari Wheeler into that conversation as the leaders, those senior leaders for this team. At what point did you kind of see that coming to fruition, him kind of taking that responsibility of that role?
Yeah, I think we felt like, Colin, that was going to be the case. I didn't want to force it. And I think we felt like that was going to naturally happen and materialize just because of his personality, because of how much, the ball was going to be in his hands as well, but as much as anything, his personality. So, while he didn't necessarily get named or voted that by the players, I think if we did a revote right now, everyone would vote him as a captain.
What do you feel like obviously it's kind of hard to kind of establish a legacy. It can be done in 1 year, but it's kind of hard to do that. What do you feel like his legacy long-term will be? What will he be known for after his 1 year with your program? I think he's a young man that he's a really unselfish, competitive, charismatic kid. And I think that as much as anything, that's who he is. He's brought great personality to our program. And, he's a young man who really wanted to play in the NCAA, wants to play in the NCAA tournament because he's not had the chance to have that experience. So I think he's been really hungry for that. And, he's a fun kid to coach. Thank you.
All right, next up, Patrick Murphy, followed by Clay Hall. Patrick.
Chris, the other two graduate transfers in Joey and Cedric have made their impact, but obviously it's been on a smaller scale than Jamari, not always starting, not always getting big minutes. Just your thoughts on what they've given the program. Maybe, you touched on this with Joey the other night, maybe more in practice than at sometimes in games. What have they brought in this 1 year?
Well, I mean, I would put Jimmy in that category as well. Jimmy's been with us a couple years. They've just brought a great maturity and high character to our program. And I know all of them would want to play more. They understand the reality is that can't happen given our numbers. But I just, I've loved coaching, all of our guys. And when I think of Jimmy and Cedric and Joey and those guys, some of those guys like Jamari that have just been here a year, I'm just, really appreciative of kind of the impact they've made and the kind of people they've been and their buy-in with how we want to do things here, which I'm sure has been a little bit different than where they came from.
And you talked the other night about when you recruited Joey the second time, being honest about his role. When you're trying to land guys from the portal that have 1 year left, and obviously those guys want to play, what is it that you have to tell them? What are they looking for? What are you looking for in those guys that maybe they won't be instant impact guys, but can still contribute?
Well, I mean, I think it's hard to put an exact number on what their year is going to look like, what their minutes are going to look like. I just think in every case we felt like we had a need for them. And I think that's proven to be the case. Now, we didn't anticipate having our injuries be as significant as they have been. No one anticipates, two guys that basically haven't, that are in your top 8 that basically haven't played all season. So the addition of having injuries has I think given us the opportunity to have all those guys play an impact. But you try to be honest with them, and yet at the same time, tell them, hey, we do in fact have a need for you here. We really believe we do. But you also don't want to oversell what their minutes are going to look like.
All right, next up, Clay Hall, and then we'll go with Timmy Hall after that. Wow. Clay, go ahead.
Hey, Chris, how have you managed to sort of handle the up and downness of this season? Are there things, there absolutes that you go back to? I mean, you have a big win, then you lose one, you have a big win. It seems like, in fact, the last 2-3 years have been a roller coaster with so many external factors. But what do you think has seen you through to the other side, and now a chance maybe to get on a run and go into the postseason on more of a high than a low?
Yeah, no. You mean external factors? You mean injuries? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess COVID. But I mean, in the last couple of weeks, you've probably dealt with some fan gripes, maybe the media, tough questions the other night, et cetera. Just is there something that you fall back on, or you say, I know basketball, the staff knows basketball, we'll get it right?
Yeah, no, I think, Clay, I think as much as anything, it's perspective, and unfortunately, when you're in the, fortunately or unfortunately, I think I know how people feel about me, who I respect and admire their
Sure.
opinions, and the people that I really value and take advice from and report to and all those kind of things. So I think as you go through a season, there's no team in our there's no team in our league that's went unscathed in our league. There's no team with less than, I don't think, 4 losses. Is that right, Clay? I think I think Wisconsin's got 4 losses. So I think the reality is I watch college basketball or follow college basketball now for 25 years. Fans don't. They kind of usually just watch one team, and if their team doesn't perform well, they get upset, and that's part of it. And that's part of being a fan. So you don't ever look at it. I think, the reality is a bigger perspective on what college basketball looks like, and what it is on a regular basis is it's reality. So I think as we've went through, had some great moments, and then had some, certainly had some tough losses. You just move on to what's next, and that is finding a way to continue to improve your team. And I think we've done a great job with that, and I'm excited about this closing stretch. But obviously, we got tremendous teams in our league. We got a great one coming in on tomorrow, and you try to tackle what's next. But go ahead.
I just got on the last few minutes. Did you update the Kyle Young and some of the other?
Yeah, no real word on that. I'll know more after practice today, Clay, on both he and Zed. So no update on those guys right now.
Are they practicing?
Well, we haven't practiced yet today, but we'll see if both of them practice. I think Zed may. I'm not sure on Kyle yet.
Thanks.
All right, we'll go with Timmy Hall and then Bill Landis on deck. Tim.
Hey, man, I was just wondering a couple things about Michigan coming up. For one, you sort of implemented that thing where they get the the special medallion or something if you go unscathed against the rival in a season. And also just with what's on the line here, one, it's Michigan. Two, it seems like you guys you're playing for rest here. Like you're playing for the chance at some extra rest. I wonder how much is that sort of looked on and talked about amongst coaches and the players, with that being a possibility.
I think, Timmy, we're all aware of it. I think we're all aware of the seeding that goes into it. We're all aware that we're playing a really good team, and a team that I think we're going to get the best version of them on Sunday. Obviously senior day and all that goes into it. But at the end of the day, Timmy, it's really going to come down to, execution and poise in those moments. And I think that's the reality of it. I think adding more kind of outside stressors to a moment like tomorrow's not really, I think the direction I want to go. Our guys understand the importance is concentrating on what's most important, and that's going to be our execution, our poise, and obviously our effort.
Just one quick one about just your team specifically then. I know, you were looking at the defense and the defensive numbers and how it dipped after that loss to Nebraska. And you said some things about the second half could have been a little bit more cleaned up against Michigan State. But do you have a different outlook? Do you trust that maybe there is something there? Maybe there is another level that my team can get to defensively to help us this time of year?
I mean, I think we still have, it's still a major, I think it's still really, really important and going to be an indicator of kind of how we perform in these last string of games, however long that is. It's going to be about that end and rebounding. So I think that's the reality. And we have to continue to take strides on that every day. And you're not going to always shoot it or perform offensively like we did against Michigan State. And we have to be able to defend in moments where we don't have that kind of offensive output like we did the other night.
All right, next up, Bill Landis. Bill.
I guess following up on that, Chris, when you guys played them up in Ann Arbor, that was one of your better efficiency games defensively and one of their worst offensive games. I know maybe the numbers don't always tell the whole story there, but looking back at that game, how did you feel like you defended there? And was that any indication of maybe a level that you guys could get to defensively?
It was good, Bill. I think there were some things we did strategically with having a more versatile roster at that time that really benefited us. We really miss Kyle's versatility defensively when he's not out. And people who follow college basketball know it's because you can switch with them, and when teams play 5 out, so without Justice and Seth, we've had less of that ability to do that this year. And so I think at the end of the day, that's going to be a critical moment. And strategically, we were able to do some things also with Zed in that game. And could we do some of the same things? Sure, but it's different without that versatility.
And in that game, and I think you've remarked this since then, Malachi had a pretty tough matchup there. He was kind of chasing around Eli Brooks for a lot of that game. How have you seen the games where Malachi has had a particularly difficult defensive matchup kind of impact what he does on the other end of the floor?
I thought their physicality with him was good. I thought he struggled a little bit with their physicality, and he struggled with that a little bit this year. He's 18 years old. We understand he can be slight at times, or physically he's got to continue to play through that. But I think Brooks is a good player, and he's got a tremendous motor, and he's in incredible shape. He's really got a high fitness level. So it's a big matchup for Malachi. And I do think there have been times where he struggled maybe defensively, that it's affected his offense, or vice versa. But I think he's growing in that area.
All right, we got time for 3 more here. One question each. Kobe Mayer from Lantern, Colin Gay, and then Patrick Murphy. Go ahead, Kobe.
Hey, Chris, how are you? I just wanted to ask because I asked EJ at media day before the season about Malachi, and he talked about how he was hesitant to shoot at first, and he really had to get him, start shooting the ball. So what have you seen behind the scenes in his progression where now he might be Big Ten Freshman of the Year?
Yeah, he's just really worked. He's really worked. He's grown in confidence. The game slowed down for Malachi. So I think, you know how that is. You watched enough to know when games slow down for athletes, they think less, they play more on reaction. And I think that's been the case for Malachi. And it's been fun, I think, for all of us to see his development, his growth in really a short amount of time. I think it's been really exciting for Buckeye Nation to see someone grow right in front of their eyes. And I think as much as anything, it's slowed down for him.
Colin?
Hey, I just wanted to get a quick kind of overview on EJ Lidell, especially heading into his final game at the Shot. How have you seen him grow? Obviously, he came back with, NBA teams telling him he didn't need to change a lot. But I mean, how have you seen him grow as a player, as a team guy in this final year to kind of develop into one of the better success stories throughout the Big Ten?
I think it's been the kind of season you would hope someone would have when they decide to return to school. And it doesn't always work out like that. You don't always improve your positioning, your draft positioning, your stock in the eyes of NBA people by coming back. I could rattle off 20 cases right now where that's not happened. It's happened with him, and it's a credit to his work and his buy-in to what we've been challenging him with and what he was challenged with as well. And a lot of that matched up, to be honest with you. But we made a commitment to EJ and his family that he would play and defend on the perimeter. I think there have been times where that's been an adjustment for all of us, but it's something that we've committed to. And I think it's really been good for him and his growth. And I think it's also helped people see him in a good way. But I think his consistent shooting has just his overall game has improved. Just his, almost every aspect of his game has improved. And that's what you hope when a guy decides he's going to return. And I think that's a byproduct of EJ being EJ. It's a byproduct of him being bought into our team, being successful. So I'm really happy for him.
And we'll finish up with Patrick Murphy. Patrick.
Chris, I just wanted to get your thoughts publicly on Ryan Peden and the job yesterday. I know obviously you've talked a lot about him and this opportunity.
Yeah. I'm thrilled for Ryan. I'm thrilled for Ryan and Stephanie and Maddox. I'm thrilled for their family. This is a really good job. Illinois State's a really good job. People who may not quite follow college basketball may not understand that. It's in a really good league, and it's a very good job in that league. Anybody in the industry would tell you, that it's a great first job. So I'm really, really happy for him. I've been saying for the last couple of years that we could lose Ryan to a head coaching job. And I think, here in these next few years, we're going to have more of our guys that are going to, get head coaching jobs. And that's a really exciting thing when you're in my position to see guys like Mike Schrage and now Ryan. I have other assistants that are now head coaches. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really happy for him. But it's a great opportunity for him. And he's a special person. He's had a huge influence. He's recruited some of the really impactful guys in our program right now. And I'm ready. I'm excited to follow him.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Appreciate your time today.
Okay, guys.